My favourite part of working here is just the people associated with Orchestra, the music makers.
I know what great experiences I've had before with OM.
I love working with Orchestra of Music Makers because the orchestra is so, it's massive, but everyone involved in the orchestra is so passionate about, their particular instrument, but also the power of music.
The Orchestra of the Music Makers, or OM for short, is a collection of people from many diverse backgrounds who come together to make music.
When we first started, was about 80 musicians, which we formed within 48 to 72 hours for a charity concert.
Back in 2008, a group of friends and I, we had just finished school, and we wanted a way to continue performing together, and we found music making to be a really integral part of our lives. So we decided why not just form our own orchestra.
A group of young people came to me and they asked that I would help them start up their own orchestra. This orchestra eventually became the Orchestra of the Music Makers, but its original idea were really quite modest. It wanted to get together perhaps twice a year to read through some orchestral repertoire and have a party at the end of it.
Apparently people have liked what we have done, and this has brought on many further opportunities for us to do bigger and more impactful projects.
It's been quite miraculous to see how it has transformed from that original ambition to premiering Walküre in Singapore some 13, 14 years later. The orchestra, is in fact quite privileged to be able to premiere operas from the Ring Cycle in Singapore. And of course, in so doing, it's made artistic history in Singapore by being the first to bring in and produce a Wagner Ring opera. That puts us in the same level as many other countries who are ring opera producing nations. And it is only possible because Singapore has reached a stage of development where all the resources necessary for such a production is available to us. Wagner's Ring Cycle is probably one of the greatest pieces of art that humankind could have access to.
It's one of the most gripping overtures ever. And then going in for a longer, a deep dive into another world.
And it was certainly on a scale that had never been seen before during Wagner's time. And that still holds true today.
Because there's just so much going on, not only with the singers and the story and the costumes and the lights, but with the orchestra as well. It's a world of colours.
Walküre was, if not the biggest, one of the biggest productions that I've been involved with as a conductor. And the scale is ginormous. There are so many different types of rehearsals, and of course there is the actual length of the work itself.
The playing time of the opera is about 3.5 hours long, so we had to schedule a lot of rehearsals from staging, music and orchestra rehearsals within 2 weeks to cover the whole opera. So it's kind of like piecing together a jigsaw at times.
On top of that, there is the artistic realization of such a huge work, being able to see the big picture, yet to communicate the small nuances.
Including with a really, really large orchestra, top singers from all around the world, and they're all in rehearsing for about 2 weeks. So it all adds up.
So some of the challenges of a semi-staged production is being able to get the audience to enter into the world of the opera without, a multi-million-dollar set and 50 billion costumes and things like that.
Our director has requested for a set, and there'll be integrated multimedia elements and lots of live camera feeds.
We were able to utilize multimedia in order to get the audience to live in close quarters with the characters. So Every single move of the opera singers is televised on an extremely large screen that is part of the set. So they get to see every single reaction and action of these characters. The conversations are televised. So not only are you seeing a body in space in that beautiful concert hall, but you're also seeing the landscape of the performers' faces. So that's how I tried to invite the audience deeper into the story of the piece without having to use a multi-million-dollar set. And that we were able to, in such a short time, really track the performers' emotions through the whole entire opera. I loved the use of costumes, you know, working with my collaborator to build a world that's not just the music, that's not just the set, but also where the Valkyries have been, what they're looking like. So, you know, for us, we built a world where, you know, these Valkyries are working women, and they're not the usual, you know, kind of like chainmail Valkyries. They look like English hunting women.
I think there are two aspects to conducting a Wagner ring opera. There's the physical one, the actual business of conducting a work that is that long, and the rehearsals that precede it. And of course, the mental part of it includes the managing of the large forces at work, be it the orchestra or the singers, or things associated with movement and the set.
And we had to pay attention to everybody's stamina, from conductors and directors, stamina to the artists and the orchestra too, because it's a really, really long sing or play.
It's about efficiency of the way that you produce the tone so that you can continue with endurance and enough richness of tone and articulation to carry over a very big orchestra for a long period of time. So it's not about being more tough or somehow rough with your voice, not at all. It's about being really, really efficient and trying to find that sweet spot where everything works.
We are all new to it. I mean, this being the Singapore premiere of any of the operas on Wagner's Ring Cycle. So really, we had to figure out how best to rehearse and even plan the entire production. So we went around the world, we looked at, and we talked to some of other organizations, whether orchestras or opera companies, about how they went about doing it, and we received invaluable help and guidance, which we are really, really thankful for. So we took all of that and we crafted something we thought might work.
So altogether, it's an incredibly challenging, but potentially also one of my most fulfilling experiences. My biggest takeaway from our Walküre experience is that it can be done. And it has made the rest of the cycle, the other three operas, more than just a remote possibility.
So I was extremely happy with the audience's reaction to the performance.
We have a reaction from the audience. You feel how attentive people are, and people are holding their breath, whether they're shocked by something. We have a great sense of that on the stage.
They were there every step of the way. You know, you could hear people gasping at some moments, and also celebrating the love of the twins, which was really, really lovely.
I was extremely happy to see how the production was embraced by our audience, and I think they might be disappointed if we didn't embark on presenting the other three operas in the cycle.
Seeing people come back from the dinner break and being excited as to what's going to happen in the last act is such a pleasure, you know, for a director. So I was really happy and buoyed by that, you know.
Many things that could have gone wrong didn't. Whether it's really, really down to good luck or good planning, I don't know.
My collaborators who were working on set did a wonderful job in terms of really working with the architecture of the concert hall and giving us, you know, so many different levels, playing areas. It was such a pleasure to work on this total work of art in this semi-stage production of the Walküre.
I'm really looking forward to the next one.